Welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving right into a fascinating and, honestly, deeply moving concept today, the ripple effect. Have you ever stopped to think about how one individual life, just one single focal point of energy, creates these lasting ripples that can wash over an entire community? When we lose someone, that initial impact is incredibly heavy and immediate. But what they leave behind, the structures they built, the people they inspired, the systems they set in motion, that continues to echo long, long after they're gone. Today, we're going to trace these ripples, starting with a recent, deeply felt loss in the arts community, and then expanding outward to see exactly how legacies are forged and sustained. Okay, let's dive into this. On our agenda today, Section 1, Remembering Josh Grisetti. Section 2, Championing Diversity at CSUF. Section 3, CSUF Community Support. And finally, Section 4, Remembering 2026 Legacies. As you'll see, these distinct stories connect beautifully under one unified theme of enduring communal impact. We're starting off with some genuinely heartbreaking news that really shook the entertainment world. On July 10th, the Broadway community and the academic world lost Josh Grisetti, who tragically passed away at just 44 years old. Now, if you follow theater, you probably know his brilliant work. He was celebrated for his dynamic roles in hit shows like Something Rotten and It Should Have Been You, plus television appearances on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. But as we're going to see today, his resume only tells a tiny fraction of his story. To truly grasp the immediate void left by his passing, you really just have to look at the massive outpouring of love from his peers. A touching tribute from his It Should Have Been You co-star Sierra Boggess just perfectly captures his essence. She said, "He created light and thought and humor everywhere he went." I mean, what a beautiful tribute, right? It really establishes his deep emotional resonance. He wasn't just a performer, he was this generator of joy for everyone lucky enough to be in his orbit. But it's actually this quote from his Something Rotten co-star Rob McClure that pivots our focus today. McClure wrote about watching Grisetti inspire students while transforming the musical theater program at Cal State Fullerton. And this right here is where we see the ripple effect in full action. Grisetti didn't just keep his immense talent locked up on the Broadway stage, he took all of that industry brilliance and channeled it into a tangible, localized impact as a dedicated university professor heading up the BFA musical theater program. Section 2, Championing Diversity at CSUF. When Grisetti arrived at Cal State Fullerton back in 2021, he didn't just want to teach, he wanted to totally transform the place. He was acutely aware of the lack of diversity in professional theater, and he brought this incredibly celebratory, enthusiastic energy to changing that reality right from the ground up. He turned his industry experience into concrete action for underrepresented students. For example, Grisetti spearheaded the incubation of The Boys and the Nuns. It's a musical by Sandra Delgado that amplifies Latina and LGBTQ+ voices. Inspired by real events in 1980 Chicago, where Catholic nuns and gay activists actually formed an unlikely alliance. By producing this on campus, Grisetti was ensuring that CSUF wasn't just a Hispanic-serving institution in name only, but that it truly reflected and honored its diverse student body right there on the stage. So the crucial point is, how exactly did he make this happen? Because it wasn't just good intentions, it was pure resourcefulness. Grisetti wrote the proposal and secured a $113,000 HSI community grant, which was sponsored by Cal State Northridge and Apple. And this wasn't just funding for one single show. This grant brought in nearly $30,000 in essential new theater technology. We're talking high-end desktop computers, new generation iPads for stage management, cameras, microphones, the whole shebang. As Grisetti himself noted, students will be finding a million uses for this technology for years to come. Now that is a lasting legacy. Section 3, CSUF Community Support Initiatives.
Now let's broaden this narrative ripple of it. Grisetti's intense dedication to his students' welfare is actually a perfect reflection of a much wider, proactive culture of comprehensive care at the university itself. Tuffy's Basic Needs Services is a vital support hub located right on the first floor of McCarthy Hall. So why does this matter? Well, because students today are facing unbelievable macroeconomic pressures. As the director of the program, Victoria Ajamian, points out, things like high gas prices, inflation, and a severe housing crisis disproportionately impact commuter students. Think about it. If a student's car breaks down or they lose their housing, their whole education can literally derail in an instant. Hubs like this are absolutely vital for keeping students enrolled when life throws a massive curveball.
Let's quickly run through the specific lifelines they offer because it's an incredible safety net. Beyond temporary on-campus housing, they provide hands-on assistance applying for CalFresh food benefits. Students can hit up Tuffy's Career Closet for professional interview clothing or access emergency financial grants for unforeseen hurdles, like, say, unexpected medical bills. And there was even this really cool app called Titan Bites, which automatically alerts students whenever there is leftover food from a campus event. The ultimate goal here is holistic, preventing temporary hardships from destroying long-term educational dreams.
And sometimes it's the little things that really preserve a person's dignity. They have these clear bins generously stocked with free, full-size hygiene products: shampoo, toothpaste, deodorant. Students can access these donated products completely anonymously, once a month, without even needing an appointment. It's just a quiet, respectful way to support students during really tough financial times.
Here's another brilliant community connection. The Fullerton Arboretum and the campus garden actively provide surplus fresh fruit, we're talking peaches, avocados, and oranges, directly to the ASI food pantry. What you should really take away from this is the amazing closed-loop system they've created. It directly connects campus sustainability to student hunger. And it gets even better. Any unused produce from the pantry that passes its shelf life actually gets returned to the Arboretum to be used as compost for the fruit trees. It's literally a perfect circle of community care.
And this brilliantly illustrates the big picture here: how foundational support structures allow incredible, world-changing work to flourish. You have the expansive CSUF campus on one hand, and a microscopic view of B-cell acute lymphoblastic leukemia cells on the other. This visual juxtaposition represents the high-level research happening right on this campus. CSUF is currently utilizing a massive $905,000 NIH-funded grant in partnership with UC Irvine to research cancer health equity.
And who exactly is doing this vital work? It's students who are supported by the university, like undergraduate Gloria Castañon. She's studying treatment disparities in Hispanic adults with this specific type of leukemia, but it's deeply, deeply personal for her. Gloria comes from an agricultural community where her family was actually exposed to harmful pesticides in the strawberry fields, and she watched her own family members battle cancer. Her background directly drives her research. This shows us the deeply localized human impact of these broad institutional grants. When you support the student, you are empowering the researcher who might just change the world. Section 4. Remembering 2026 Legacies.
Now, let's zoom out a bit to the macro level. We've talked about the localized legacy of a professor and the support systems of a university, but as we reflect on the year 2026, we've lost several notable individuals across a vast landscape of industries. Here's a quick, impartial overview showing just how diverse these legacies are. In entertainment, we lost beloved actors like Peter Van Norden from Police Academy and Randolph Mantooth from the classic show Emergency. In the political sphere, the passing of Republican Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina marked a major loss in government. Over in sports, we lost a young World Cup athlete, Jaden Adams, as well as Paul Foligno, a major philanthropic force. What we see clearly here is that impact, the ability to leave a lasting legacy, absolutely transcends industry, age, and politics.
To really understand the scale of legacy, let's draw a direct comparison. On one hand, you have Paul Foligno. He was a local philanthropist and business leader who quite literally saved the CSUF golf program from extinction, eventually building a $1 million plus endowment to secure its future forever. On the other hand, you have Jaden Adams, a 25-year-old soccer star who proudly represented South Africa on the global stage at the World Cup before his tragic passing. One built a legacy by saving local college sports, the other by shining brightly on a worldwide stage. Yet both impacts ripple outward to inspire others in profound ways. Let's move to the basketball court and see how this builds into our everyday lives, especially when we face unexpected challenges. CSUF Titans coach Dedrick Taylor recently faced a massive hurdle when a star player transferred to Alabama right before the season started. He had to completely redefine his team's entire identity on the fly.
But rather than letting that loss define his season, Coach Taylor used it as a teaching moment. He told his team, there are plenty of opportunities to define what those moments will look like. It's up to you to define them. And you know, this isn't just a sports cliche. It's an incredibly powerful, overarching framework for processing life's unpredictable moments. Whether it's the loss of a mentor like Josh Grisetti, a sudden financial hurdle that Basic Needs Services helps you overcome, or the passing of a global icon, how we react defines what happens next.
Which brings us to the end of today's Explainer, and a question I really want to leave you with. How will you define your moment, and what will your legacy be? We've seen today that a legacy isn't just a fancy plaque on a wall. It's the technology left for future theater students, the food pantry stocked with fresh fruit, the medical research driven by personal passion, and the grace to rebuild a team after a tough loss. Your impact ripples outward, often so much further than you can ever see. Thank you so much for joining me to explore these incredible stories of community and legacy. Keep learning, keep reflecting, and I'll see you in the next Explainer.